Is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Rhodes, you picked up 2 books there. What were they?
So this book is actually called Out of Shadows by Dr. Jason Piccolo. He was the very first whistleblower in 2015. So prior to when the chairman referenced the severing of the DHS and HHS information sharing agreement because they didn't want chilling on their sponsors, at one point, this brave whistleblower, when he was looking and had the ability to look at the data, said, hey, we are giving children to criminals and pedophiles and traffickers, and that was 2015.
Okay, that was 2015. And what was the other book I think you had?
Oh, it wasn't a book, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I referenced Aaron Stevenson, who is the DH whistleblower from 2021. Mm-hmm. He was the TOC mission expert, that's the Transnational Organized Crime mission expert, and he identified the very first time in the history of the program that a TOC member, because of all the relaxation of the vetting, was able to sponsor a child. And that brave whistleblower lost his job for coming forward to expose child sex trafficking.
All right, let me ask a couple of questions to follow up on what I think I've heard. I think you and Ms. Hopper mentioned resuming DNA testing.
Yes.
As steps that should be taken. Prison for sponsors who lose their, I wrote charges, but unaccompanied children. I think that was you, Ms. Rhodes, as a solution? Okay. Do you know if there's federal law that covers that, or do you think federal law would need to be implemented to address that?
We would probably need to say, yeah, we would need to put in a law because it doesn't currently exist. I think it's very important for people to understand, just like PRS is not enforceable.
Fair enough. I'm running out of time. I apologize. You also mentioned that you thought this was a 10-year problem, and you raised concerns about HHS not having the tools or the expertise to address some of these problems because of the cartel involvement, I take it, that has become part of this?
Well, even Mr. Carey, who used to formerly be with HHS, he's even said they're not law enforcement. They know they're not law enforcement.
So that would be DOJ then potentially, or other law enforcement entities that should be more involved with this?
Absolutely.
All right.
DHS.
And then, boy, I think this was Ms. Lauren. You mentioned, and to Mr. Correa too, that some of the changes that had been made, more accurate licenses, better information regarding past allegations of misconduct, because sometimes entities would, even though they'd been identified for misconduct, would still be receiving unaccompanied children, that needed to be addressed. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, and then you said something about improving the ability to confirm that kids are in school, aware of their court dates and the like. And I was curious about how that would be done. Would that, you'd have to increase the number of people who have oversight over these children, or how would that work?
I mean, what we're really asking for is documentation. We're asking that when they reach out and children receive post-release services, HHS keeps a record of that so that they can show which kids have gotten the services, which haven't. And that's what they haven't been able to do.
The kids reach out, if they call, for example, that would be tracked.
No, it's exactly.
Okay, and then Mr. Carroll, I apologize, I'm running out of time. You had 3 points. Well, first of all, let's begin with the organ harvesting issue. So, Ms. Hopper, I think you identified issues, but I think the ones you mentioned were in Mexico. Are there any you're pointing to in the United States? Not that that makes it better, but I just want to make sure we know what we're talking about here.
You are correct. You had mentioned that there were no footnotes. I was not going to put a incarcerated cartel member's information out there, but that would be the footnote. However, they were harvested for buyers that were in the U.S. looking for those organs. For
footnotes, what I would mean in that instance would be, for example, if there are cases that have been brought to prosecute, you could cite those. But but the fact that I just want to nail down they're not in the United States. Mr. Carroll, or you made an allegation about organ harvesting as well. Are you saying that's taking place in the United States or somewhere else?
In my documentary, I interviewed multiple people.
Please give me the quick answer.
Yes, it's happening in America, and to deny that is
I'm not asking you to deny it, but have any charges been brought against anyone for doing that?
I don't know that right now, sir.
Okay, and then you mentioned that as your three parts of your solution, every single one of the 550,000 unaccompanied children should be identified. After they are identified, what's the next step in the process that would happen there? What happens to those kids after we identify them?
We make sure they're safe.
In what way? What do you have
I
in
mean,
mind?
I don't understand the question. By what way? I don't understand.
The gentleman's time has expired. Mr. Guest.